Today we're going to talk about one of the most popular short stories in America. It is Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. My name is Dea.
My name is Wina.
My name is Lena.
My name is Rafly. Please enjoy our videos.
Da. So, what's the reason we chose the Telltale Heart to talk about? For the first reason is an author. Edgar Allan Poe, or Poe, was an American writer, editor, and literary critic. Poe is best known for his poetry and short story. Poe's best known work, fiction, are Gothic literature. Gothic literature can be defined as writing that employs thought and pictures scenery, startling and melodramatic narrative device, and an overall atmosphere of exoticism, mystery, fear, and dread. Despite the fairly common use of this bleak motif, writers have also used supernatural elements, touches of romance, well-known historical characters, and travel adventures narratives to entertain their readers. And the Telltale Heart is Poe's work that use Gothic literature. Romanticism. I would like to explain about Romanticism. So, what is Romanticism? Romanticism was an artistic, literacy, musical, and intellectual movement. Where is Romanticism from? It was originated in Europe, and in the 1799 is an early movement of German Romanticism. Other areas in Europe, such as Great Britain, France, Poland, Russia, and Spain, was at its peak in the approximate period from 1800 until 1850. Who is the first? Friedrich Schlegel, a German poet who is given credit for using the term romantic to describe literature. He defined it as literature depicting emotional matter in an imaginative form. Why it exists? The movement itself exists to revolt against neoclassicism and as a form of reaction from existence of the Industrial Revolution. Neoclassicism itself is a movement in England during the 17th century that characterized by emotional restraint, order, logic, technical precision, balance, elegance of diction, an emphasis of form over content, clarity, dignity, and decorum. It appeals where to the intellect rather than to the emotion, and it prays with our imagination. How to describe Romanticism? Romanticism has its own characteristic, such as an emotional by individualism, subjectivity, spontaneity, freedom from rules, solitary life rather than live society, the beliefs that imagination is superior to reason, and devotion of nature, and fascination with the past, especially the myth and mythicism of the Middle Ages.
Okay, so today I'm going to explain to you about the writer of The Telltale Heart. It is Edgar Allan Poe. So, Edgar Allan Poe was an American short story writer, a poet, a critic, and an editor who is famous for his cultivation of mystery and macrobee. So, Poe was born in Boston, Massachusetts in 1809 and died when he was 14. Poe grew up in the era of American Renaissance, or the American Romanticism. It of course impacted his genre and his writing style. His works seem dark and cultic, and of course it is satanic. With an air of objectivity and spontaneity, his production are closely dependent on his imagination and an elaborate technique. The name Poe brings us the mind. The name Poe brings us the images of murderers and madmen. His works have been in print since 1927, and it is including The Telltale Heart, The Raven, and The Fall of the House of Usher. He is widely acknowledged as the inventor of modern detective story and the innovator of science fiction. But in America, he is widely known as a great literary critic and a theoretician. Poe's reputation today rests primarily on his tales of terror as well as his haunting lyric poetry. Telltale Heart, and essentially all of his works, is Gothic literature, and Gothic is the offshoot of Romanticism. So Romantics believe that human emotion was far more vital than our reason because it doesn't have to be taught. So we are born knowing how to feel deeply. And so they believe that logic really distracts us from experiencing more compelling experiences in the world. So, like inspiration, creativity, and feeling. Much of the literature of these periods attempt to provoke such intense emotion as a way to return the reader so that they can feel more emotional feelings. Gothic literature especially focuses on the experience of horror because Gothic writer reasoned there are few emotions more intense than fear. So, Telltale Heart does contain horrible elements and is capable of provoking fear. It is comfortable to think that as long as we don't get into anyone's bedside, as long as we're nice to anyone, we will be safe from murder. However, in this story, the narrator leads the reader to the idea that the assumption is simply untrue. The old man has done nothing to warrant the treatment of the narrator, and he cannot even control the thing which is the vulture eye, and that is so provokes the narrator. And the idea that someone might be so deranged that they could kill someone over a small physical feature like the eye is just simply terrifying.
The Telltale Heart by Allan Poe includes several elements Romanticism. The definition of the Romanticism is an artistic and intellectual movement originating in Europe in the late 18th century and characterized by a heightened interest in nature based on the individual's expression, emotion, and imagination, departed from attitudes and forms of classicism and rebellion against established social rules and conventions. The text relates to Romanticism in many ways. Dark Romanticism was about evil, horror, terror, and much more. text relates to dark romanticism because in dark romanticism there is evil lurking everywhere. There is evil in the shadows and in the dark. The narrators represent this evil when he goes into the old man's rooms every night. He is the evil lurking in the shadows. The old man could also represent this evil because you only see him when he is in the darkness. He is driven mad by the old man's eyes, and he decides to kill the man for this reason. Later, when the police seem to have cleared the narrator of the death of the old man, the narrator hears the beating of the man's heart and confesses to the crime. He hears things that don't exist, marking him as insane. Another reason to the text relates to dark romanticism is because in this there is psychological guilt for the sins that the narrator commits. In the story, the narrator is feeling guilty for killing the man when he keeps hearing the heart. The heart beating represents all of the guilt that is inside him fighting its way out to tell the truth.
In this short story includes the elements of the grotesque. These elements is the hallmark of this genre. For example, the narrator or the man is driven crazy by the old man's eyes, which the narrator described the following way. He had the eye of vulture, a pale blue eye with a film over it. The old man's eyes is grotesque. It represents how the man or the narrator kills his victim, or we say the old man, by chopping his body, like his hand, his legs, into 7 parts, and then before he buried it in the 4 birds. Exploring horrifying event and mental disorder experience by an actor in a fiction can be one of the satisfying activities for the readers. This video will present chaotic elements in this short story. The short story was chosen because it was guessed that the narrator underwent mental disorder. He did violent act till he committed murder. The method used in this study is descriptive qualitative. The results showed that chaotic elements found in the story are horror, mystery, and romance. The main character or the narrator seems to have the mental disorder called schizophrenia, and the narrator experienced the 4 stages of hallucination and delusion. They are converting, condemning, controlling, and conquering, which deal with delusion and hallucination. The sum of the Telltale Heart short story was written in 19th century in the Romanticism era. This short story is influenced by the gothic genre. This short story is mysterious, dark, horror, and provoke us questioning what's really happened in this story. It is also influenced by Poe's writing, always try to temper with human emotion and psychology. He is genius that trick our minds and plays with our fear, human fear.